speaking of some of the issues that you and Mike Lee differ on, what do voters and I guess just the residents of Utah need to know about Mike Lee? Now we're not a political commentary show, but I think it is important to get out what you as a candidate feel people need to know about Mike Lee.
Well, I think Mike Lee's most notorious thing was shutting down the government in 2013. He was like one of the leaders of that government shutdown, and that really hurt a lot of Utah people. 35,000 people in the state of Utah work for the federal government. The federal government is the largest employer, and during the government shutdown, all those people weren't spending money because they weren't sure if they're going to go to work again when they're going to get another paycheck again. So that was a very problematic thing. But in addition to that, we have 5 national parks in the state of Utah. We have multiple national monuments. We have a lot of national forest land, and there's a lot of people who depend on tourism, and especially in like some of the smaller communities like Moab, Torrey, and other smaller communities in Utah. They depend on people to coming to the national parks to rent their hotels or visit their restaurants to buy stuff from their shops. And when all the government shut down, all those national parks and monuments were closed, and nobody was coming to their cities, and so it hurt the economies of those cities. And then other things Mike Lee's done that I really disagree with is that he voted against renewing the Violence Against Women Act, which protects women from domestic abuse. He blocked aid to Flint during the water crisis, which would have helped give relief to a city where children are drinking water contaminated with lead. They need to have access to clean water. We need to solve that problem, and Mike Lee seems to be against children, he seems to be okay with children drinking contaminated water. So I think that's problematic. And, in July he introduced this horrible bill. He calls it, it's Orwellian in saying he calls the First Amendment Defense Act, but it's, would allow businesses to discriminate against LGBT people or anybody that's against their religion. So, they could theoretically, by worded, they could discriminate against, like, people who've been divorced or possibly interracial couples or anything. It'd be completely unconstitutional, but he introduced that into Congress back in July, so that's a very problematic bill that I would hope never passes, because I don't think it passed because it is unconstitutional, but he's okay with introducing legislation like that, so he's not a friend of the LGBT community or really people in general.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I heard about that act being presented for for discussion, it occurred to me that in addition to being able to discriminate against the LGBT community or specific demographics, it's I think what a lot of people don't understand, and especially in a Mormon-dominated state, that could also be religious discrimination from one sect against another. I think people haven't realized that.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible bill, and it shouldn't pass.
Yeah.